joke too.
Yeah. Kids, we're talking to the crypto queen, Anne Grande. You like that? That's a cool title.
Oh my goodness! I wish that I were the crypto queen. It's kind of like anything else. The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I'd be like, oh yes, I know everything about crypto. Nope. No, the more into the nitty gritty you get, it's very fascinating the way that it all works. But I'm by far not an expert.
I know. What I would say is, even though I've been around, been doing crypto since I started in 2010, which I'll never forget how hard it was to get in. I would still say I'm learning every day. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say I'm an expert in anything. I'm just learning every day and trying to shape my knowledge. But the reason I say that is because you're in the heart of things as far as crypto goes. You got a new fund coming out. You got a lot of good stuff going on. So I'm glad you're here. Let's just talk very casually for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, talking about crypto. I know you have a couple of questions about crypto and qualified plans. Obviously, we do crypto and qualified plans at vastsolutionsgroup.com. So let's just chat. It's going to add some value to the viewers and listeners out there. Sound good?
So I'm gonna me. I always like to just hit the ground running. One of the big questions that I had, and I always like to prepare for things like this because I always want to know, make sure that we've got good conversation going back and forth. So as I was driving back home to take the call, I was wondering if I purchase crypto, let's just say I buy Bitcoin today, and is there a possibility that if it retraces, let's just say it goes from 50,000 down to 25,000, and my overall value of my Bitcoin goes down, can I contribute that as Bitcoin into my qualified plan?
You have to make a cash transaction, generally speaking, of your qualified plan. So meaning, let's just say, I'm not going to talk about personal stuff for you, but let's just say, generally speaking, you have a company, you have a 401k. Your 401k could be sponsored. It could be basically, in effect, sponsored by the company. The company sponsors the 401k, in effect, right? And then let's just say it's in a Roth, because we sometimes will suggest to do crypto in Roth environments because it's tax-free. Mm-hmm. So you would have to buy the crypto in the name of the Roth, in that example, in the name of the Roth 401k or in the Roth IRA. So it's basically a cash purchase from, in this case, the Roth 401k to the crypto house, wherever you're buying it from. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at the same time, now let's just retrace our steps. Let's say you bought crypto and it's gone down. So you bought it in your own name, let's just say, and it's gone down. You could sell it and rebuy it. So you get around the wash sales concept. And that's a good thing. That's a huge thing about crypto as far as taxes. It's a very smart thing to do sometimes. Although we obviously hope that crypto just goes up in your portfolio, but just in case, at least you could, you don't have the same provisions where you do in a non-qualified plan for investments in mutual funds or stocks, bonds. You can do wash sales and it's no issue.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so it's not like real estate. So I can contribute real estate as its cash value, but right now regulation just kind of hasn't caught up with that, is what I'm understanding.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah,
Bitcoin directly into the qualified plan.
That's exactly right.
Create a sale, so I'd actually have to sell the Bitcoin in my own personal name, contribute the money directly into the qualified plan, and then repurchase.
In effect, if that's your strategy, that's exactly right.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
But let's say you have an IRA. If you have an IRA, you can do an in-kind. That's really complex, but you can do an in-kind transfer to your 401k. So in effect, it's big. Does that make sense? So meaning, let's say you have it in your, in an IRA, and you want to roll over or do a transfer, that you can do. Does that make sense? But meaning, in your example, we were talking about having it in your own name. But anyway, I think that serves to answer your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was just something that I was thinking about. We've got some different coins that we work on in the in kind of like the underbelly, right? And so we focus on not necessarily like the main chains like Binance and Bitcoin, Binance and Coinbase, but we focus on some of the other ones.
Yep.
It's just very interesting. There's so many different coins and so many different people that are out there, pushing different things.
Yeah, totally. And By the way, you can even buy your fund. Now, I know you're working on a fund. If you don't, if you feel comfortable talking about it, you could buy, generally speaking, don't know your fund and don't know what it's going to be like when it rolls out, but you can buy the fund as long as it's, again, without knowing the specifics, you can buy the fund in your qualified plan as an example. So you can make a purchase to whatever, I don't know where it's going to be held, but to that form, let's just say you're writing a check for, in effect, whatever, $10,000, you can hold that, let's say in a Roth environment, portfolio goes up, you don't have to worry about taxes as long as you abide by all the rules, right? Yep. And then when you pull the money out in a Roth, you don't have to worry about it. The reason we say, you should do qualified crypto and qualified plans is usually you have huge run-ups, right? And then you don't want to worry about taxes at that point. Now, if you're looking for tax deductions, then traditional 401k might make sense, or profit share plan or defined benefit plan. Yeah. You go, you buy it. Usually you get a deduction because you have a bad tax liability, and then it grows up. The portfolio goes up. Then you sell it. Down the road, when you pull the money out, you would have to pay taxes at that point, whatever your tax rate is, et cetera.
Okay. So I have a question for you. So I recently heard about something. It's a 401k C Corp combo.
Yep.
Have you heard of those?
Yeah. So I'm going to put words in your mouth. Basically, what you're saying is funding your own company in your 401k. Yeah. We were very early on in that, as a matter of fact. Yeah, you can do that. Very complex. Selling it's very hard, by the way. But yeah, you can fund your own company. Let's say you want to fund a company with 401k assets, or even an IRA assets, and roll it into your 401k. Yeah, you basically, the way it occurs is you have a C Corp that you're funding, but it's all in the name of your qualified plan. And I'm not going to say it's definitely not. I mean, it's one strategy of getting money into a quote startup, as a matter of fact. It's just, it gets a little technical to pull the money out. That's still, it takes a lot of work to do that, but you can do that.
What do you mean to pull the money out?
Let's say you want to close the company.
Yeah.
And it's some work. I mean, it takes real consultancy, because sometimes there'll be new owners that are going to come in, and because it's in a qualified plan, it's more work as a result.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that aspect of it. So my question would be, let's just say, we know individuals that trade for a living, and could it be possible for them to utilize 401k funds and trade through a C Corp, in which they can still get benefit, but still get the tax benefits of a 401k?
Yeah, they would. In that case, they wouldn't have to. Well, they could. They don't have to necessarily do it in the C Corp. They could do it in the name of the qualified plan. We make it so, generally speaking, we make it so, by the way, this is for entertainment purposes. Everyone's got to talk to their own advisor.
Yeah, we're just having a frank conversation.
Exactly. Case study, or whatever we want to call it. So basically what you could do is you can have money in a checking account at an institution, whatever. Sometimes Wells Fargo, Bank of America, whatever the case is, in the name of the qualified plan, in the name of the 401k, and then it could invest in the crypto or wherever it is, and do the trading there. You don't necessarily, in that example, you don't need a C Corp.
So my understanding of the way that the 401 C Corp works is the 401k, your 401k, your qualified plan, funds the C Corp itself. And so those funds can be used, let's just say, to purchase assets. Let's just say you can buy Bitcoin, right? Or you can actually function. Now, any of the earned income you can actually take as a distribution to yourself as earned income from the business without actually selling the assets themselves.
Yeah, you're getting kind of minute, but you don't have to, in that case, it does not have to be a C Corp in your example. It can be an LLC. It does not, I mean, that's important to note. It does not have to be a C Corp.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I've only heard it as a C Corp. I don't know the different advantages between doing that in an LLC or doing that in a C Corp.
Depends on it really depends on the circumstances. If it's a rollover, I mean, we can really get really specific, but generally speaking, you can do it in an LLC. Generally speaking, we set them up as LLCs.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't heard of it as an LLC. My question is, like, why is it that the government really intends to prevent people, the general population, from understanding and knowing these types of things? I mean, how many people that decided that they wanted to go out and start their own business, they could have used their 401k as funds to do that?
I'll tell you, I know. this is what I'm going to say. I don't think there's enough people who get paid on that. So, and plus there's compliance issues. So think of it. Generally speaking, I keep saying that because we could get very, very compliant.
Very specific.
Yeah. So, usually the people who are advising on assets are usually financial planners. Financial planners get paid on mutual funds, stocks, bonds. Okay.
It's
So
the pyramid. Yeah.
what? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the pyramid. So the futurals and the real estate is always at the top because that's where they're going to make the least or zero money out of it.
That's exactly right. But they will say, well, it's also out of compliance because it's hard to do compliance, which I do agree with. But at the same time, there's a money ingredient too. So they're not going to be telling you about doing all this exotic stuff. Plus, by the way, that's number one. Number two, it's really complicated, way complicated. So it's those two things combined. Plus, the average financial advisor wouldn't be able to do some of the stuff we just talked about. Think about it. A guy or girl who's only doing stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and then all of a sudden they're thrust into doing something as exotic as having an LLC or C Corp, and something that's exotic as investing in real estate that's totally unique to them as investment advisors. It's totally out of their realm. So kind of both things combined.
Yeah, I just think it's so interesting. I think that there needs to be a lot more education. We've got an educational group that I help to manage as well, and we're often talking about how little education there is for entrepreneurs and for business owners because you get very good at your skill, your trade, right, and your zone of genius, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to run a business.
Right.
With all of that, it's then it goes into how to operate a business versus what you do are two very different skill sets. And this is why when you start operating a business and you start running it like a business, you need to have those professionals in hand. But there's not, again, going back to, there's just not a lot of education when we get into the world as far as, how do you hire a good CFO? How do you hire a good CPA? Who do you hire as a tax strategist? Because a tax strategist, a tax attorney, and a CPA and an accountant, they all do very different things.
Very different things.
And so when you ask all of them, hey, what's going to be the best scenario? They're all going to give you 4 different answers. And so this is why you and I and Bob, I've gotten all 3 of us on a call before, because it's like, hey, qualified plan, meets, asset defense meets what I'm actually trying to accomplish in business. We all need to be in alignment.
I love it. That's exactly right, Ann. And I have not paid you for this, but that's exactly right. That's why we at vastsolutionsgroup.com decide to, match up with Bob and do the strategic alliance. And Bob, by the way, is Bob Bloom, who's at Asset Defense Team. We've combined to do vastassetdefense.com because you're right. I mean, we speak different languages. So now we have asset protection and estate planning, along with what we do, tax, finance, and artificial intelligence, all combined together to help the entrepreneur. Because we all talk different languages. We're in different parts of the of the table. So without that kind of consultation, it makes it really, really difficult to help the end user client. I appreciated when you got us on the call, all of us, because we could help one another and really help you better, because Bob and I are on the phone kind of talking the same language, because we what he doesn't know I might not, I might know, and vice versa. Also, you said something, if it's okay, let me kind of bridge the gap. You said something about one of your groups that you're a part of. I think you said you're managing. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know you're a part of some groups with some big hitters. I don't know if you're out there marketing or if you're comfortable talking about it, but if you could mention a few things about it.
We do quite a few different things. So first, let me first say, I don't know if you remember how we actually met. So I was getting into an investment and I really wanted to put it within a qualified plan. I called Bob. So Bob and I have been working together for going on 10 years. Now I'm not going to date myself.
I knew it was that long. I knew it was a while. I didn't know that long.
It's been almost 10 years. So so I reached out to Bob and I'm like, Bob, you're the person that I trust, like asset defense, like you do all this stuff. He's like, let me introduce you to Kenner. We talked on, I think it was a Thursday, and I said, there's a thing happening. We've already got the money invested. I need to have this thing done by like Monday. And there was no hesitation in your voice. All you said was, we can do that. And it is so amazing. And it just goes, it's just a testament of like who you are. Like those are the type of people that I like to work with. I like the people that are not like, well, this is our standard process. There's that kind of a person. And then there's the person that gives it like that half a second pause and they figure it out and they're like, yeah, we can make that work.
Yeah.
And you just did. And it was like 72 hours later over a weekend. And by Monday morning, it was like, here's all your documents. You guys are good to go. Everything's protected. And I'm like, like the pearly gates opened up and, the hallelujah started singing. It was incredible. And that's why you and I have built such a great relationship, and we've been able to have those type of conversations because I'm honest with you and you're honest with me.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that you say that you're going to do, you actually back up with your actions. You don't just say a whole bunch of, I'm going to censor myself. You're not going to just say a whole bunch of stuff and then not act on it and actually not produce or bring it to fruition. So
that makes me feel good. Again, you haven't been paid. That makes me feel good because as a consultant, sometimes you have to work in the weekend. Sometimes you have to get things done like that. And you've been fun to work with. I'm not just saying that. You've been fun to work with. I'm glad we came through for you. I know that we saved some tax dollars. We saved. I know we helped you. That makes me feel pretty good.
No, it's great, and it's just a testament. And this is why you and I have been able to sustain a relationship over this long period of time. It's because I'm very demanding. You can ask anybody. Like, I've got my alter ego. She comes out. Her name is Janice, but you've never had to meet Janice, which is it's a testament of who you are.
Well, thank you. That's a big compliment. But again, do you want to talk about any of the stuff that our people out there could be listening or viewing and say, "Hey, I want to get involved in whatever she's doing"? You sure you don't want to mention anything because you have some cool stuff?
Yeah, I'll throw a little plug out there. So we have it's for us. It's all about proximity, right? And proximity, what that means is being in the right rooms with the right people. And not all people are the right people, right? So they have to be your kind of people. And so our kind of people do things like this, right? And so we actually have a whole organization called the Guardian Academy, and we help people in real life. And we're very focused on businesses that are real businesses. It's not, some dude in a basement trading. Like, you actually have a real product. You're producing a real service. And we just kind of collect these people. We've had events. We just had an event about 2 weeks ago with Chris Voss. So he came down to the office, and we did a whole thing with him through Golden Swan. So Chris Voss is the famous FBI hostage negotiator. So he wrote the books Never Split the Difference.
I've heard of that. Dude. Wait a minute. Is he a really good looking dude?
I mean, he's a handsome dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So he came down to the office. We had a great event. We had, him and Nick and Joe Polish all up there talking about, different ways of negotiating in business. So Chris Voss is such an incredible human being. Yeah. And instead of just going out and, fitting within the same box, he went to Harvard and he learned all about business negotiation skills. And he used that when he was doing hostage negotiation, because they're the same, they're transferable skills. And so now what he does is, now that he's retired from the FBI, he goes out and he teaches people how to negotiate. As a hostage negotiator. He helps them to negotiate in business. Just really extremely fascinating. So we have events like that. We've got, tons of things that we do throughout the year. We've got incredible partnerships. We've helped to fund a real life explorer. And so Akshay is actually going out in November. He's going to do the first solo man's 110 day, I think it's 110 days, across the Antarctic by himself. So no dogs, no other people. He's going to be there for 105 or 110 days. I can't remember exactly.
It's a little crazy, but he's part of your deal. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like a survival rate of like 20%. I mean, it's very, very minuscule that he'll actually survive. But he's like, I'm doing this.
Wow. More power. Is he a part of the Guardian Academy, or you're gonna? Yeah, I gotcha. So by the way, is there a website, or how do people learn about you or Guardian Academy?
Oh gosh, honestly, I would just have people reach out to me directly. You can shoot me an email at ann@swellingtide.com.
How do we spell all that?
Ann, ANNE at swelling, SWELLING, tide, TIDE.com.
Awesome. Wow. Okay, cool. That sounds really cool. And by the way, so can you go in a little bit more in depth about Guardian Academy? It sounds like a really cool deal. By the way, it's kind of funny how you just say, oh, Joe Polish kind of on the side. You deal with some stud dudes. And it's kind of funny, like Like, that was kind of funny. Oh yeah. By the way, I hang out with Joe Polish. I hang out with the president of the United States. But
Well, that's coming. That's coming. We're actually, yeah.
You're an incredible lady. Yeah, go ahead and go into a little bit more detail about Guardian Academy. Just take a couple minutes.
Yeah, so Guardian Academy, it started a couple years back, actually as a crypto community, and kind of really transitioned into a business entrepreneurial educational organization. And so we do about 6 events a year at our office in Tempe. We do all kinds of things. We have people coming in and doing like breath work. And so, Nick has a ton of different partners that come in all different industries. So everything from the music industry. We have an individual that is partnered with the the New York Fire Association. And he's building a game for firefighters.
Oh.
And they donate money back to the Firefighters Association. Everything else, let's see. So we've got an AI algorithmic trading platform or trading fund that we've got that'll be live here probably in about 2 weeks.
Is that under the Guardian Academy or no?
So this is all kind of underneath of the umbrella of what I help to manage. So the Guardian Academy is just one of those things, which is the educational platform. And a lot of people come in through the Guardian Academy and one of the subs, which is called the Arena, and it's about helping people not only just sit around and talk about what we're going to do, but actually engage the field and discuss like, okay, so here's a lesson that I know to be true. Here's how I applied it. This was the result. What's next? And then we do live coaching to help people to actually move into the next step. But you have to actually be engaging and on the field, engaging in the field in order to be able to.
I understand. And to get involved in any of that stuff, they again would email you.
Absolutely, and I can definitely connect them with whoever needs to be, whoever they'd like to be connected with.
Sweet. All right, cool. Anything else before we sign off?
No, I mean, I love this. I'd love to, do this again. And there's always going to be things that we're going to have to talk about as crypto changes, as, the entire world is changing, how do we change with it? And that's really the question.
I love it. I love hanging out with you, working with you. You're a good lady. So, hey, you guys, and seriously, thank you for taking the time to do this. And for anyone out there watching, listening, get a hold of Ann. She's a good lady. Once again, this is Kenner French talking with the vast voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs.